Let me get started. And a hush falls across the land. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is January Gill O'Neill, and I'm so happy to introduce four talented writers at the Grolier. I want to say a quick thank you to James and all the folks behind the scenes that helps put this together. It's not easy. Hello to the online audience. Thank you. So I'm going to just do the introductions and then sit down, and they're going to read in alpha order. And tonight we have Imani Davis, Rita Mookerjee, Joshua Nguyen, and Chinma Nnadozie-Okananwa. And I'm hoping that I get your names right. My apologies. So we're going to start with Imani Davis, and I'll read all the bios first. Imani Davis is a queer Black writer from Brooklyn, a recipient of fellowships from Cave Canem, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, Lambda Literary, StoryStudio Chicago, and the Stadler Center for Poetry. They hold a BA in English and Africana Studies from the University of Pennsylvania. They're currently a Ph.D. candidate in American Studies at Harvard, where they also earned their MA in English. Imani's poetry appears with the Academy of American Poets, Best New Poets, Best of the Net, PBS NewsHour's Brief but Spectacular series, and many others. Notably, they have performed at the Teen Vogue Activism Summit, the Museum of Art, the Apollo Theater, Brave New Voices, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Kelly Writers House, and the Nuyorican Poets Café. Rita Mookerjee, my apologies, is an assistant professor of interdisciplinary studies at Worcester State. She is the author of False Offerings from Jackleg Press. She is the co-founder of Honey Literary Inc. and the poetry editor of Split Lip magazine. Her poems can be found at Calyx, Coppernickel, The Offing, Poet Lore, and Vassar Review. Joshua Nguyen is the author of Come Clean by University of Wisconsin Press, winner of the 2021 Felix Pollock Prize in Poetry, the 2021 Writers League of Texas Discovery Award, and the 2022 Mississippi Institute of Arts and Letters Poetry Award. He is also author of the chapbooks American Luke Bot for My Mother by Bull City Press and Hidden Labor and The Naked Body, Sundress Publications. He is a Vietnamese writer, collegiate national slam champion, and a native Houstonian. He received fellowships from Kundiman, Tin House, Sundress Academy for the Arts, and the Vermont Studio Center. He has been published in Wildness, the Texas Review, Split This Rock, and elsewhere. He is the humor editor for Offing Mag and the Kundiman South co-chair. Also a bubble tea connoisseur and loves a good pun. He received his MFA PhD from the University of Mississippi, which is where I met him when he was one of my students for a brief time in history, but he is just terrific. He currently teaches at Tufts. And last but not least, Chinma Nnadozie-Okananwa is a recent Northeastern University graduate. She received her MA in English this past May. She has been writing poetry and competing in slam poetry festivals like Louder Than a Bomb, Brave New Voices, and College Union Poetry Slam Invitational or CUPSI since she was 14. During her undergrad and grad degrees, she was president and graduate advisor for the Intrabang Poets, the poetry club at Northeastern. She also enjoys baking and spending time with her cat Calliope. And so when, there's a lot to read in these bios because they're all so young and so talented. And so I feel heartened and warmed to know that like the future of poetry resides in poets like the four that we're going to hear tonight. So we'll kick it off with Imani. Imani.
Hello, Black people.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everybody else. It's a little quiet. I'm like, I gotta spice it up. So I'm gonna try something I've never done before. I'm gonna try to do about half this set just in iambic pentameter. Progress report. The evening's first mistake, I gave the baddie all my weed. Of course you did. You know I can't resist a big brown, well-lined eye. No shit, should we be shocked? Your problem is a pretty girl could whisper house and you drop out to build her six. You're sick. She just seemed nice and had cute hair. Your point, I'm scared there's nothing green in mine I wouldn't burn if asked from beauty's lips. I'm scared that love is how I'll go extinct. Remember Icarus? You're not the first to be a fiend for warmth. Compulsion's not your color, by the way. I got the message, bitch. Then act like it. The Black Unicorn takes a shot, circa 2016 or so. A sweaty throng of twinks in thongs procured your shore from Amazon. You know the scene. It's not your first collegiate Hallows Eve. You're over it by now, this annual display of jocks who never try to learn your name. This year, you've planned accordingly. Slid all your niggas tween the velvet ropes. Mid-smoke, you're reapplying Fenty gloss when 12 busts in and cuts the beat. Not this, you hiss and wait for cuffs to find your wrists, and then they don't. Turns out the house is owned by trust fund kids. You're not relieved per se, just more excited by tequila's sting than bullets groping for your head. Just grab yourself another drink, my nigga. Tonight has got to have a point besides the blue boys' flashlights aimed like rifles at your chest. Go off. Sometimes I dance between poems to let y'all know it's the end. If I start doing this, like, you could start snapping. More am I on time? I'm gonna do my set that I timed my set pre-thing, so like we cool. I lose. It's fall. I blame myself for all the blues you sound in me. There's something wrong, but it's a bit too early in my one and precious life for me to clock the sharpened notes that you position in my side, the subtle tuning of your tongue's vermilion guilt. I eat my words, I throw them up. I eat my words, I throw them up. I eat your words, I'll keep them down, I swear. You win. No stubbornness, or lavender, or any beaded fringe. Instead, I'm left to say the truest awful thing. You didn't love me carefully enough. I asked for warmth and there the fire was. You broke my record, shorty. Now my music's all fucked up. Okay, break. We're going to like regular language now. Okay, actually, I'm gonna close with the iambic pentameter. You weren't supposed to know that. Damn. Can I want to try something. Can y'all give me a name for an annoying twink? Like an annoying white gay boy.
Logan.
Thank you.
Nice. Nice.
It's my first time reading this and I need a name. Thank you. Should you quiz him, Logan would blank on the basics of strap-on architecture. He is a proudly polished white gold star homosexual. Ryan Murphy plot point approved. Carson's so cisgender, he hates the word cisgender. So P-Town ivory pristine, he doesn't check the price per bottle or the spelling of your name. We're 3 fingers deep into an 80s themed pansy party and Despite his fish-netted attempts at ensemble, Carson has yet to catch on. Carson's getting like so fucked up. Oh, I've been saying Carson. I switched it. Poem. That's so, everybody's so creative. Logan's getting like so fucked up. He slurs a neon confessional across your ex's Keith Haring t-shirt. I'd literally kill for one-way time travel back to 1983 off the strength of the outfits alone. Crimson historian, mood killer. You can't help but ask, kill? Don't you mean die? Yeah, a good risk to take. This is a poem about being a social justice person on Tumblr as a child who was too young to be doing it. It takes its title from my favorite episode of BoJack Horseman. Child star, but do you want to host a game show where everyone feels bad at the end? A middle schooler's guide to Tumblr. Kick off the knee-high Converse, kid. You've got a lot of obsessing to do. Gotta go dunk your good sense in the wicked disco of online discourse until any statement that doesn't sport a URL as proof rings false to you. Go ahead and memorize every haunting synonym for history. Learn why your teachers say Obama and mean shut the fuck up. Why boys say pussy and believe they're pronouncing your name. You must understand. This website will not hesitate to consume you, will nourish the screeching woodpeckers nestling stubbornly in your head, but it is also how you learn that gays can be something besides lily white or dead. And so you love the idiot genius of that navy blue oracle online, forever guessing the pronouns of the moon. You love it so much, you might die. I remember to dance that time. I'll never get nervous no more. I don't know what this is about. Two more. Y'all know Azealia Banks, the rapper? What is wrong with me? The licorice bitch hears Rihanna's Kiss It Better and decides to live again. You know, as one does. To my therapist, I'm alarming, but I guarantee somebody's boyfriend at this party thinks I'm a dream come screw. Not brag, but if Clifton was between Starshine and Clay, I'd say I'm somewhere between ketamine and completely over life on Earth. Here's a secret. Every day, I'm the thing that tries to kill me and fails. Won't you celebrate with me how I never once got the gumption to let my feet spring off the edge of salvageable? How I'll be sure I've arrived at the end of the end, and then my favorite song pulls me back into some hot stranger's manicured hands. You win this round, Miss Robin Fenty. I'll give the moonlight one more chance to hit my eyeshadow just right. I'll play this game if my black latex boots are the only agreed upon rule. I can be anything you want, but sane. I snorted on the mic. Radical acceptance. Last poem. Never snorted at show.
Iconic.
World premiere. Kink. The moon assumes her voyeuristic perch to find the rut of me, released from sense, devoid of focus except by your design. I never thought restraint would be my thing. Then you, the hole from which my logic seeps, who bucks my mind's incessant swallow song and pins the speaker's squirming lyric down with ease. You coax a measured flood. Decide the scatter of my breath and know your place. Astride the August heat, your knuckles tight around a bratty verse, a fuchsia gag, you quiet my neurotic ass. Can still the loudness murmuring beneath my skull. Be done. there's nothing more to say.
Hey y'all. What's the vibe? Imani's incredible, and one of those poems is really special to me because I published it. So yeah, love that for us. Okay, so since we're here reading for Joshua, I wanted to read about something really quintessentially Asian, and that's having a crazy mom. So let's start off with a mom poem. To protect your children, you need a drawer of hair and teeth. My mom is a hoarder, but not in the popular sense, with dolls and newspapers and putrid bodies under fallen bookshelves who no one thought of until the smell kicked in. She is just too attached to the world. She cannot part with greeting cards, pacifiers, pastel board games, and wooden souvenirs whose origin stories tend to change when I ask about them. There is a drawer in a filing cabinet where my mom keeps teeth and hair in envelopes. My sister's canine, she's right there. The rat tail my brother sported one summer. It was in fashion at the time. The envelopes are labeled with only our names, as if we ourselves lie tucked behind manila folders. I think of how the Mambos tell people to bury their hair in the ground so that no one can take your tresses and ball them into tufts for ill will. In this way, my mom's drawer is fierce protection. It sits locked in a room, within a room, within a room, the key hidden, even I don't know where. Thanks, y'all. This poem is a diagram. Like, has like arrows and stuff, so experimental. We love it. Yes. So I'm gonna see how I feel reading this because I haven't read out loud that much. So let's try it out. And this is Peel, an allegory. The kids at school are eating taffy. They grip it with a fist and yank their heads hard in the opposite direction. Banana candy doesn't taste like banana, one says. In part, he's right. The taffy holds no banana pulp, only a sweet, cheap chemical like decay. There is no banana here, or any fruit at all. Oh well, I don't really like them anyway, they're boring. He does not know the secrets, could never dream of the wild ones filled with black pearls, those diamond-hard seeds that are sure to break teeth. Bananas are not seen for what they are. In truth, the banana is a berry held upside down. It is not a tree, but the largest of the herbs. They are legion. There are thousands. But we fixate on the Cavendish. The Cavendish flourished under the watch of banana barons who gaze smugly over the Republic, ignoring all the while the sweated labor that built it. In India, there are wild kinds, native kinds that grow hot and thick in the Western Ghats. The banana is not a phallus, but a soft female sex framed by creased lips. A colleague tells us he has just come from the hospital. He swallowed a fish bone. Christina and I stare, incredulous that he went to the doctor for something so small. He does not know the simple remedy from the Philippines and India. Eat a banana, massage your throat. Ignore the sharp, let softness in. In spite of its thick shield of peel, the banana is delicate and susceptible to disease. The first banana thief was Alexander the Great. He tasted the kalpatru in 327 BC and could not get enough. He sent his men to gather the heavy stalks and spirited them away, where they were given a new story and renamed mouse or musa, meaning finger. Bananas, like all fruits, are divine. An astrologer predicts that Sindhu's first marriage will fail, so her parents marry her to a small banana plant. After the ceremony, I watch as she is forced to take a machete and chop it in half. So much for seeing Bhagwan in every living thing. Cavendish bananas cannot reproduce on their own. Their male organs produce no pollen. Banana plants shade the ashrams with their massive leaves. The puvan, mandan, and payan represent Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, but the fruit itself is the epitome of Lakshmi. Know this, Eden bore no apples, wrong part of the world. Eve plucked multiple fruits, figs, pomegranates, lemons, and of course that marvelous golden spear. Know this, Eve sees the fruits because within their pert wildness and their impossibility, she instantly recognized herself. Bananas. By the way, the Sindhu in that poem is S.J. Sindhu, the author of Blue Skin God. So like fun little literary references. We love it. Okay. This is a poem about America. It's a weird time to be an American and to be living in America. Really weird. This is called The Trouble Is. That I was in a 4th of July parade when I was 3 or 4 in a red wagon on loan from Cassie, who decorated and pulled the spangled thing, a sparkler in her other hand. The parade was marvelous. Tambourines and honking horns and white teeth like Cassie's. I did my duty. I smiled and waved my flag, bound to the wagon like I am bound to the nation, bound to Cassie, and 200 more beautiful white girls with strawberry braids, denim overalls, and perfect constellations of freckles. The trouble is, first I learned to read, then I learned patriotism, then I learned to walk. America lives inside me, a hungry beauty who will never love me back. And I say, I hate America, but I can't imagine life without the scent of honey roasted nuts in Union Square, or the petrichor of the Susquehanna River Valley when the moss swells under the black walnut trees. The trouble is that I love Tennessee whiskey and Kentucky bourbon as much as I love Viognier and Scotch. I love brash vendors, red bag chips, and the Cajun cry of, hey, baby, when I order a shrimp po' boy. I love wild mushrooms and corn and clean and wheat and rich cheese, firm and proud in her wheel. There's nothing like Wisconsin extra sharp cheddar, the only cheese meant to marry macaroni. Don't text me on this. I will fight anyone who disagrees. America makes you do this. Makes you get violent over noodles. The trouble is that I hate America, but I love gas stations, apple picking, and Bloomsburg pumpkin vendors who leave wares on the roadside with an empty coffee can for the cash. Even today, they still trust the honor system. Because American love is as ferocious as American hate. America's heart is wreathed in flames, swear words, and tricolor popsicles that drip down to your elbow in a sticky smear. The trouble is that I hate America, but she hated me first. And despite white boys with their guns and televangelicals and their gaudy mega churches, there are still so many anchors tethered to my flesh, weighing me down and binding me to this wicked, dazzling place, to the red wagon, to the eternal question of, oh, say, can you see? To the promise of freedom and a full belly, whatever the cost. America. I left a bunch of furniture in an alley in Chicago because I was moving. And I got my feelings about that. Like I always ascribe like human emotion and relationships to inanimate objects. It's really troubling. Like I get sad. I'm like, oh my God, my desk. She's all alone. And this is about my vanity that I left. And then one more. Ode to bathroom mirror altars I've built for myself. I'm moving back east to a basement studio that barely holds my furniture. I moved out, by the way. But you know what? It's got a closet just for my makeup. The bathroom lighting is exquisite. I know, it's hardly an upgrade, but the planet is on fire. I'd rather stay inside, loving myself at the medicine cabinet, glowing tears of glass potions and indulgences, and there I am, the patron saint of queer brown femmes, in my cold sepulcher, painting myself to life so I can stomp into the day and silently tell the world not to fuck with me.
Exactly.
My eyebrows are Disney villain pointy for a reason. I can do them on the train. Forget a mirror. My hands are steady like a bass line from all my practice in foggy compacts and bumpy bus rides. Listen, I'm downsizing. I leave my small vanity near the alleyway, its surface scuffed by bobby pins and blunts rolled in pink paper from acrylic towers of mocha lipsticks, less than half a shade apart. I'll miss my vanity, but I don't need it. No one can tell if you get ready, curved over a single stall, sink with a spiderweb mirror, or if you beat your face beatified in ring light, flanked by cherry perfect studio bulbs sitting in a wingback chair in tufted blush velvet. This is about the finished product. Big reveals with feather fans shimmying. I silently thank my vanity for its service, but it was never made for a gay millennial femme. A woman says to me, you'll outgrow all of that. But I know the truth. To me, every painted lash line is a landscape. Every brushstroke on my face is an ancient ritual and repetition. So the next time I'm flush with cash, I'm buying booze, lights, plus more lipstick. I'm going out screaming in full glam. Yay, vibes, vibes, vibes. Last poem, this is a really pissy, angry poem. I've been in my feelings, y'all, because there's some literary entities that I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I love y'all. Let me be in your club. And they're like, I don't think so. So it was like a lot of rejections this summer. And, you know, that gets very bitter. And I feel like there are these expectations when you're brown, when you're Asian, when you're queer, blah, blah. Like there are all these things that they want you to do, right? And so this is a poem about things that people want me to write that I'm not going to. So this is called, Is It Even a Diaspora Poem Without the Immigrant Parents Story, after Gray's Q song. Make sure they were poor. And even if not, make sure they were poor at some point. No, this is especially important if you are Brahmin. No one wants to hear about the white people who aren't kind to you in the airport. You're in the fucking airport. Do you hear yourself? If your parents love each other, say that. If your parents do not love each other, lie. If your parents were in an arranged marriage, you'll need a good vignette about them bonding over Blade Runner in theaters, blasting Foreigner on the radio all the way to the bank in the sedan given to them by kindly neighbors. White people in the 80s were cool. Maybe because you could... White people in the 80s were cool. Maybe because you could still buy Quaaludes and the Coke was wicked? I don't know. Make sure at least one of your parents has a charming talent or hobby like sewing or violin. Don't make them athletes in the pool, bankers, chefs, or soldiers. Nothing too aggressive or ambitious. Erase the part where your mother gives up her career to care for the children. Say she only wanted to be a mom. Don't mention her Olympic caliber track records and omit the botched knee surgery. No worries if your parents didn't party or do any cool drugs. Americans like their immigrants squeaky clean. Leave out the part about your mom throwing up on New Year's Eve, how your dad opens the door and places her limp in the shower as there was nowhere else to sit in the studio apartment. If you had a violent childhood, remove the kitchen utensils from all the fights but one. Be sure to mention the war, any war, just as long as there's war. At your book signing, white people will ask you if your parents are proud. You'll loudly say something like, in their own way. Yeah. Your cover needs no less than 3 of the following: paisley, peacock, Ganesha, gold leaf, Buddha, an oil lamp, incense, the ocean, ants, or your mother and father waving goodbye. Thank you.
Come on, reading out the book.
I know. Can we clap again for Imani and Rita? I feel bad because how far can I go and still be on camera? I kind of want to see my friends in the doorway. Is this okay? Okay. Hey. Thank y'all for being sardines today. I really appreciate it. I'll just be reading 6 poems, some from my book and 2 new ones. Who here has ever worked or is currently working in the food service industry? Yeah, this is for us. This is based off when I was doing like 3 a.m. like DoorDash and Grubhub in undergrad, trying to make ends meet. This is after I was mistaken for the stripper while delivering barbecue to an all-white bachelorette party. You know the story? 1, if I had a stripper name, it would be pork loin. Marinated in my mother's seasoning, I am mostly bone, but my butt is meaty. My neck is long. You can still love me if you want a brisket. In the eventual end, it will be my own doing. If I had a dollar bill for every human being who wants to see me naked, I'd still be paying loans back. Being wanted was never simmered. I am the lamb wool, and the wolf crying beneath thin skin, licked between my ribs in rich blandness. I am best served with oyster sauce, too. And there I stood, a bag of meat, head in the crosshairs, unknown terrain, door closing behind, young deer in the trenches, stay motionless. Don't make the first move, kindled fire, feet too warm, apple between the teeth, arrow pointed to the navel, knives and forks in stomachs, lack of fat, sucked bones, upside down, blood draining, unconsciousness, serpent at my throat, boiling rice, serpent in my throat, not clean, serpent down my throat. 3. Is this what being a sacrifice smells like? 26 jewel-studded cowboy boots circle me, tongues glistening in the spur of heat. So yeah, reading some poems from Come Clean, my book, which we have some for sale. The book is basically about this idea of compartmentalizing physical clutter and also mental and emotional clutter of like trauma in the past. So what does a speaker do to try to get through that, through the quotidian, through cleaning, organizing, cooking, all of that. January mentioned that she was a visiting fellow at U of M when I was getting my MFA. And I wrote a lot of this book during that time, and you're right here. So when this reading came about, I really wanted January to be there because one, like your workshop was the reason a lot of these poems came to fruition. And then if you don't know, January is like a big, one of the big ambassador of poetry and writing in Massachusetts. And when I moved here in January, January really helped me out with like figuring out like where everything was and where all the bathrooms were. So I wrote this poem, a draft of it in your workshop. So thank you very much. No, I've never been to Wisconsin. I just needed a cold place to put like sadness into. This poem is in the form of a mirror. It's a mirror poem. So in the middle, it reverses, and there are slight changes to make the meanings of the lines different in the second half. Wisconsin has a place in my heart. I just wanted to let go. Thomas tells me that trauma is trite, that to open up wounds is to bleed yourself out. Snow in Wisconsin blocks the front door of my cousin's house. In the north, the foyer has stairs up and down. The basement in broad daylight is a gray sky. A groaning fly by my ear. The only other noise besides the flinching of my arms, my cousin's breath heavy on my neck. Heavy on my neck, my cousin's breath, the flinching of arms, a fly by my ear. The only other noise beside the basement in broad daylight is the sky groaning gray. In the north, the foyer has stairs covered up and down in snow. Wisconsin blocks the front door of my cousin's house. It opens up wounds. Bleed yourself out, Thomas tells me. Trauma is trite. I was like in my face a little. The next poem, so Rita works with Honey Literary, a great press y'all should look up. And I have 2 poems going to be published next month. I want to read one of the poems from Honey Literary that will be published. And Ulysses was like, this is a good poem to read because it's in the form of an abstract after my friend Julian Randall.
Oh, that one.
And you were there in Providence when I wrote it. So if you don't know what abstract, I'm sure we all know what abstract is before like a big dissertation paper. It's like the block of like script that tells you kind of what the paper is going to be about. And so this is an abstract for a poem after one of my top 4 favorite movies of all time, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I did a lot for race relations during my young childhood. So this is a poem in the shape of an abstract. It's called You Sank My Destroyer, colon, how Harold and Kumar Goes to White Castle influences the poet's relationship to assimilation, the body, and whiteness, after Julian Randall. Abstract. In this poem, which is an attempt at condensing super elitist or white logic into bite-sized words, further packaged within the sonnet form, further stretched left to right, the poet analyzes the dirt-smudged faces of Harold and Kumar filling the brown immigrant parent crater of their mouths with crinkle fries and small burgers and too many diet sodas. Much importance is given to this example of the representation of Asian Americans before Asian bods with abs in the media. It proved Asian people can get high, eat fast food, ride a cheetah, jaguar, and meet Neil Patrick Harris. Importance, yes, of course, but the poet oftentimes gravitates to the twin white and or British scene in the campus bathroom, where the twins play a game of battle shits, taking turns unleashing torpedo after torpedo of outrageous farts and poops, out shitting each other, with Harold and Kumar in the middle stall acting disgusted. Yet the poet argues that this disgust is a bodily rejection to the patriarchal limitations placed on who and what a body can ingest and outputs, the output being the feces, a culmination of each and all possibility, a white femininity unbound, an unboundness that Harold and Kumar, Korean and Indian respectively, are seeking in their negotiation of assimilation in white America. And at the beginning of Rita's set, you mentioned that you mentioned the mother that was a hoarder, and a lot of this book is about cleaning and doing that mentally and physically. So I actually want to read the last poem of the book. It's called Hoarder, and it's in the end of the book where the mother finally gets to respond to the speaker. Hoarder. We left everything so you could have everything. Now we have some things and you want us to have nothing. Your old trophies, relics, proof you tried to make us proud. Our jade at the bottom of a boat capsized by salt. Our first couch swept by a flood, they said, couldn't happen in a no flood zone. Your father and I gathered our urns we collected and tied them to the boat and called it an anchor and called it grounded and called it land ho, home of the free range farms filled with meat we never have to pick ourselves. I could have been the wife of a general, could have lived in decadence, a fresh crab meat pre-picked apart, but my own mother latched onto an idea of independence, clawed onto the image of America, the sponsor, the savior, not the safer. There are pearls in the ground next to my nieces, argon anklets, necklaces touched by napalm, rings with black nail residue. There is no space for trinkets or tunes. The dead is a permanence more fit for forever frills. Only room for pockets filled with dragonflies, just dirty forearms and touches by soldiers and your grandmother. You can clear out your childhood bedroom. I'll still find the permanent marker behind the paint, but you leave our attic alone, a mouth, a stomach, cardboard boxes of paper cuts and newspapered porcelain. You leave our attic as is, or else I'll tear open your belly button, store my gray hairs in there, along with your father's fishing pole, and of course, our tongues. I'll open you up. I'll use a dragonfly as a key. You. Thank you. Raise your hand if you ever had a one-night stand. Woo! All right. I mean, that's all right. This poem is another kind of, not a response, but thinking about how the speaker who's trying to figure things out through the quotidian, how they affect other people around them. I love puns, as my bio said, and this poem, a lot of my poems come from, I have a pun idea. If I can't put that in a joke, then I might make it a poem title. So I was like, oh, what if like one night stand, one night like with stand? It's like a bad one night stand. This poem is called One Night with Stand. Yes, you can go back to my place. Yes, let's be old fashioned. Let's take a cab. Yes, this is where I live. Yes, I live alone. Yes, you can come inside. Sorry, my place is a mess. No, you're being too kind. My place is usually more spotless than this. Yes, can you take off your shoes if you don't mind? Yes, so for you to have a drink, help yourself. No, sorry, do you mind using a coaster? Yes, I'm one of those coaster type people. Yes, that's a picture of my parents. Yes, I can put on some slow jams. No, Alexa, John Legend, not John Lennon. Yes, now where were we? No, I do like dirty talking. Yes, you can take off my Henley. No, well, hold on. You threw it too close to the trash can. Yes, well, I don't like the idea of my clothes as trash. Yes, sorry, I'm almost done folding my shirt. No, I don't think we're moving too fast. Yes, we can kiss against the wall. Yes, we can foreplay on the, well, when you put a dirty sheet over my bed. No, it's not like a dirty sheet, like a sheet for sex. A sex sheet, some would say. But it's like a sheet I put over the bed when I'm dirty. Yes, exactly. So my dirtiness doesn't contaminate my clean sheets. Yeah. No, you're right. I'm ruining the mood. Yes, I want you to ruin me. No, you can grab my neck. No, I'm totally fine with it as long as you washed your hands. Yes, I'm just joking. Yes, I know you went to the bathroom at the restaurant. No, I'm not implying you didn't wash your hands. Although you technically did touch like 3 doors on the way here. No, I'm just saying you touched a lot of things today. Yes, I'll be right there. Yes, we can talk in the morning. No, I have to shower first. Thank you so much for being here. It's my first Cambridge reading, so thank you, James, for the 30 emails we had back and forth for setting this up. Yeah, I moved here in January. It was kind of a rough move. I'm still like homesick of the South, but it's nice to be part of the community and like meet people who are, you know, also like reading or like love to go to the bookstore and all the literary events. And I met Chinma at a KSA reading, which is like really like full circle. I'm excited for y'all to hear Chinma. We went to Renaissance yesterday. We'll talk about that later. this last poem is the tentative last poem of my next manuscript, which really deals with like the body and survival and like dealing with, impending ends of it all. And one being like ecological disaster, right? But also I became an uncle recently. And so thinking about that, this poem was written after my nephew was born. If you notice, this poem has like perforation on the side. It's because it's meant to be like in the hands of the reader eventually. You can like rip it out, you can fold it, you can plant it, you can burn it. So I'm trying to think about what it means for the poem to be beyond just like something to read, what's like an artifact or something that like has multiple uses. So thank y'all for being here. Artifact to be found beneath all the rubble, for you or Milo. If you are reading this, let it be not under the pretense of hunger or the barren void of ash. In your hands, you hold me, all last breath and still breathing, because the warmth of your body makes me so. This artifact holds me, but I implore you to discard me in the way you found me. Let me continue to live in the commute of the wind. Let me be a message from the past for the next wary, wary traveler. Upcycle me into a material of your choice and perch me next to a window to watch the sun that's too close to earth. Use this body of text as compost around the lettuce that attracts the rabbits you hunt. Display me out over soil to block the weeds from growing, to use as a path to the cornfields. You have my permission to cut, fold, crumple, and bury this page. I will feel your love wherever I am useful, needed. What do you need? A page for the firewood, scratch paper for an SOS, a makeshift vessel for all your herbs. My goodness, have me all. Your survival is my own, and we can live this cycle forever. But Milo, if this is you reading me, please keep me in the archive of your jacket pocket. Don't let this duplicate be a duplicate. Dog ear this corner and call it yours. I want to let you know that my body might have burst, but I survived in my quest to be with you again and forever. Know that you don't have to save the world if you don't want to. You are enough. You are alive. You are surviving. Nephew, all I want is for you to remember what the fire ants know when they raft in water. Remember what the loon knows when its baby shifts in sleep on her back. What the tides know when the moon extends their arm to feel less lonely. Listen to your feet. Listen to your body. Listen to your hands. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Oh, this is so cool. Everybody's so good. Everybody's so funny. My poems are not funny. They're very sad. Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me. Everybody's so accomplished. I just graduated. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I got a master's because I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm graduated. I don't know what I'm doing. Probably get a PhD because I don't know what I'm doing. You know? So, okay. I think we have 15. I actually don't know. Sorry, I did go to Renaissance. My body's like in power saving mode. I got you. Okay. Okay, this first poem, well, actually most of these poems are going to be about my parents. So yeah, my mom was like, should I come? I was like, maybe not. So this one's about my parents. 1993, when my mother first discovered her knees and palms and how they cradled faith for the first time, My mother knew nurture long before she ever conceived. When my parents were continents apart, she made a pact with God, told him that if he carried her through wind gusts and over pulsating tides to fresh soil, that she would dig her toes in the earth and bow her head to pray. A year later, my mother found herself in America. From that day forward, she lived life inside the walls of sanctuaries, laid her head to rest at altars, supped on pulpits, gave birth to my siblings and I in a baptismal tank. No doctors, just her and her God. We were destined for ministry long before our heads touched water. We emerged and submerged from one vessel to the next. We were born into a prayer, delivered by Jesus himself, the smell of chlorine and divinity becoming one. My father hasn't smelled the chlorine of a church basement in decades. He spent years in the seminary, counted rosaries like he counted the chickens in his small village. When my father was growing up in Nigeria, a Catholic priest was the church, was the fraying carpet, the pews stained umber with coffee grounds. The priest was the portable floor fan in the doorway and the water-stained ceiling. My father was a church for a long time. Raised by reverence, he knew sacrifice long before he ever conceived, knew what it meant to embody a home for its inhabitants, to accept flaws in the most holy of places for the sake of salvation. My father left the church before he came to America. Still whispers to me stories of churches with thrones and golden encrusted toilet bowls and the fraudulence of it all. How the money we give to Christ is actually used to rear false idols. A minister with a God complex, the hypocrisy, how that too smells faintly of chlorine. The only sense I have ever known clings to my clothes no matter how many times I dip myself in the River Jordan. No matter how many times I have washed myself with anointed oil, collected tears in an alabaster box, parted the Nile and spoke in tongues to the abyss, I was raised on sinking sand. Seesaws of contempt and guilt every night. I pray for a flood, a rebirth. May I be born this time into anything other than confusion, condemnation, anything other than what both sides have branded me with. I stand for the reading of the word, watch the preacher's lips move, but only hear static. Only hear my father's voice from beneath the pews, while my mother exalts her father, arms outstretched, eyes closed, mouth open, also awaiting a flood. You're gonna, that's about my mom too. I don't know. This is also about my mother. This is crazy. we're just gonna go on my mom's path. Okay. My mother is complaining about my father. Again. At this point, I can no longer keep watching a film with no ending. Can't keep staring at a hollowed out fridge, willing something to appear that will fill me, satiate me. I feel the weight of a loveless marriage settle on the center console of the car, and I turn to look out the window. I ask her to disappear from his life like salt in bodies of water, but she will not give up the taste of him, however briny he may be. She says, God has a plan for me. By that, she means suffering is righteous. Sacrifice is the most clearly defined path to heaven. After all, what good is a man if he does not make you thrash, make you convulse and sway, make you speak in tongues, catch the Holy Spirit like our Father, hallowed be thy name, my Father, a Godhead unto himself. I told her, God would want you to be happy. By that, I meant, you have been fasting since the day you met him. Now is the time to eat, to be filled, satiated, break bread with me, and untie tie your soul from his. His shortcomings do not condemn you to hell. I turn back to look at her at a red light, and her eyes are open, but she is muttering a prayer. Everything in the car is bathed in scarlet as we wait for the traffic stop to turn green, and I cannot help but feel as though this is yet another sacrifice, another pouring of blood, another burnt offering painted red. But I am tired and hungry, so I close the refrigerator door. We're gonna take a break from my mother. I love her. Just want to put that out there. We're gonna talk about my sister. Oh, actually, no. I'm gonna read this poem. This is about how mad I am. This is just about anger, simply about anger. A prayer is a last resort, a plea for something to feel what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. I bottle all of the hurts, the ones that have made homes and the ones yet to come. I bottle them all up and lay them at a makeshift altar, patched together with follicles of my own hair and that of my mother's and her mother's. I kneel before it and bite my palms to draw blood. The taste of pain reminds me that I am alive. I have embodied a sinkhole for so long, I no longer remember what it means to be full and merry. I make everything in my path a wasteland, total destruction. I don't stop until outside looks like what I see inside. I want everyone to feel the wrath that consumes me at night. So angry, I shake. So upset with the world, I have no choice but to avenge it. I have lived with this rage for so long, I wake up every dawn and turn to caress its shape in the space next to me. I carry a seething fury in the pit of my stomach. I feel it burning continuously and I relish in its pain. I want to be consumed by its flame. I want them to watch me burn them to ashes. I want myself burned along with it. I will use my mother's altar as firewood. I will soak it in complete, unadulterated scorn, empty my guts, vomit bile over everything, scream once the puke has left my lips, scream until I purge myself of everything, scream until the homes of hurt that lined my digestive tract are evicted, are demolished, crushed to rubble. I wish for everything to be rubble, for everything to be leveled by the explosion of my trauma. I want them to taste my blood and know instantly by its twang that it is mine. And then I think there'll be one more. I'm really bad at time, guys. I'm sorry. This is going to be a nice poem about my sister. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do that one. Oh, okay. Okay. This is an open letter to my younger sister. Ology. The day you told me you thought you weren't pretty, I bittersweet smiled like grayscale flashbacks on prepubescent insecurities. The day you told me you thought you weren't pretty because your skin was too dark, I felt the beginnings of this poem rupture my stomach. My throat closed its walkways. I feared my self-hate projected onto you like movie screenings, that you witnessed me wallowing in the shallow waters of my reflection in our bathroom mirror and became accustomed to the salt, to the way I cupped my own head and held it under the waves. Colorism has a way of dancing, a way of swinging its hips, a way of entrancing you, a way of burning itself in your retinas, a way of whispering demands into the ears of adolescent boys, tells them beware, she is not of your kind, she is lesser than. And they believed it, and so did we. Our hair only dances at night, shucks corn during the day, jives along my pillowcase once the light has gone out, happy to be free when no one is watching. Like when I waited hours in twilight on the dormitory floor for my friends to fall asleep before unmasking myself, slipping finger pads underneath the flaps on either side of my ears and peeling away my first layer. Like when we relinquished Thanksgiving, demanding that we deep conditioned and crocheted instead of fellowshipping because we refused to attend school in 4C. We were so scared of our hair being anything but nocturnal. I don't know how we lived with this pain for so long. Ology. What good is our armor if we are too busy trying to destroy it? Ology, this is no skin-deep battlefield. Ology, you are waging a war against yourself, and no part of you will win. Baby girl, listen to me. Your skin is petroleum. It's the backbone of this country. It's everything they can't and we will. Our hair is where queens arise, where success takes roots, where crows gather to harvest their joy, moons litter dust. murky oceans and clear hearts, sepia spilling onto egg whites, sweet and salty and whole. So in days you put this through mirror, like I did. Hammered your face to stitch it back together with pieces of models and magazines like I did know that the downfall of my self-ownership will not fashion you a starting gate. I will not let it. Come, dine with me. We will sip tea from each other's hands and frolic in gardens of wheat like mahogany. We will make our bodies sanctuaries and stop trying to uproot the God that lives therein. We will fall in love with the night that nestles between stars, yet stretches itself into masterpiece. You are masterpiece. You are alchemy aftertaste. You are beautiful. Don't you ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Thank you. And then I'll just do one more. This is about being Black in the suburb. Sorry, yeah, I was like, start on the street next to that park, the one that acts like echo chamber, reverberates your childhood shrieks of glee back to you, even now, even when the other kids would not play with you. Call it hallowed ground. This is where it begins. A map is a looking glass. Reflections bear cardinal points. Feel the indents on your martyred skin, every street, every turn, how they etch themselves in your crow's feet, carve themselves into laugh lines. You need not memorize the path of least resistance when it is looking back at you. You only know home through windows, a dish towel in the distance, moss curling around iron railings, rotting wood. Home is the least sycophantic thing about you. Maybe home is unmasking, or maybe it isn't. Your mother sings love songs to the map, polishes it. 1 tablespoon vinegar, equal parts water. She wipes it with that dish towel and it reflects back to her an image of a better life. If a map is a looking glass, then home is the missing shards. No one swallows the fragments willingly, but they lodge in your throat all the same. 5 paces to the right, turn left at the tree stump. Cut across John's backyard and pray to go unnoticed. Hop the new white fence, the one that keeps them in and us out. 4 more paces. Your sister is looking back at you. She is also clasping a map. Hers look more like rotting fruit. You have arrived.
Okay, how about another round for all 4 readers? I told you, right? Keep your poetry. Okay, so there are books for sale and these poets need support. So talk to them, find out where they're reading, what they're interested in. And in general, I'm a big advocate. So support poetry, the Grolier, go out, enjoy the summer, come back to poetry. Have a good night, everyone.
For coming, everybody. If you could please move your chairs up against one of the walls, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Wes?
Whatever direction.
Sorry, I thought I recognized someone. I was like, what? Right there. Sorry. I'm gonna pass. That would be.
No way.
Thank you.